And joining us now are Pierce's parents, DJ and Wendy Corcoran.
Fire Captain DJ Corcoran and his wife Wendy stepped onto the national stage last night to talk about their 22-year-old son Pierce, who recently died in a car crash. The driver who hit his car had no license, no insurance. He's currently being held by Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Well, tonight, 10 News anchor Brandon Bates is verifying one of Sean Hannity's statements from the show. Brandon.
Well, Robin, in Hannity's report before the interview last night, he said the driver who hit Corcoran, Francisco Eduardo, was driving on the wrong side of the highway. This is the clip.
Have you heard the name of Pierce Corcoran? On December the 29th, he was killed by a suspected illegal immigrant driving without a license, without insurance, and on the wrong side of the highway.
So according to the police warrant in this case, Francisco Eduardo slowed down for a vehicle that was slowing in front of him. Instead of avoiding the vehicle by going to the right lane where there were no cars, he, quote, negligently swerved to the left. Police say that's when he crossed over the double yellow lines, hitting Pierce Corcoran head on. 10 News also spoke to Francisco Eduardo's son, who was in the car at the time of the crash, and he said they braked to avoid a car and then they were pushed into the other lane by another vehicle. So we can verify that Sean Hannity's claim that the driver who hit Pierce Corcoran's vehicle was actively driving on the wrong side of the road. That claim is false. Police and the suspect's son say he either swerved or was pushed into that lane. Now on to this. There's also a GoFundMe account circulating online that claims to be for the Corcoran family. That is fake. The Corcoran family says they don't want money, they want justice, and to please beware of this GoFundMe page.